What happens when the most powerful woman in Chicago meets the one man who doesn't need her money? Tonight, billionaire CEO Sophia Langford is about to discover that some things can't be bought, and some people can't be impressed. In 20 minutes, a single father will walk away from her without looking back. And that moment will shatter everything she thought she knew about success. Stay with me until the end of this story. Hit that like button and comment which city you're watching from. I want to see how far this journey reaches. Now, let me take you back to where it all started. The rain came down hard that October night. Sophia Langford stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Fairmont Ballroom, watching sheets of water blur the Chicago skyline into nothing but smeared lights and dark glass. Behind her, 300 people in designer clothes talked too loud, laughed too hard, and pretended they weren't constantly checking to see where she was in the room. She hated these events, not because they were boring, though they were. Not because the conversations were shallow, though they absolutely were. She hated them because every single person here wanted something from her, and they all thought they were subtle about it. Ms. Langford, a man in a gray suit, appeared at her elbow. I was hoping we could discuss the Henderson acquisition. Not tonight, Marcus. Of course. Of course. He backed away like she'd slapped him. Sophia took another sip of champagne that had gone flat 20 minutes ago. She was 30 years old, controlled a tech empire worth $8 billion, and regularly appeared on lists of the world's most powerful women. Forbes had called her ruthlessly brilliant. Fortune had called her the ice queen of Silicon Prairie. Her own CFO had once called her terrifying during a meeting where he thought her mic was muted. None of them were wrong. She'd built Langford Technologies from absolutely nothing. No family money, no trust fund, no connections, just a student loan, a laptop, and 5 years of sleeping 3 hours a night while everyone told her she'd fail. Now she had 3,000 employees, offices in 12 cities, and more money than she could spend in 5 lifetimes. And she was completely, devastatingly alone. Sophia! Claire Morrison swept up beside her, drink already in hand. Claire was her oldest friend, if someone you kept at arm's length for strategic purposes could be called a friend. You look like you're planning someone's funeral. Just my own social life, Claire laughed. Come on, at least pretend you're having fun. People are starting to whisper. They're always whispering. True, Claire glanced around the room. Hey, who's the guy by the bar? Dark hair, blue shirt, actually reading something on his phone instead of networking. Sophia followed her gaze. The man stood slightly apart from the main crowd, and there was something immediately different about him. Not his clothes. The shirt and slacks were fine, but clearly off the rack. Not his appearance, though he was objectively attractive in a tired, real-world kind of way. It was the way he held himself. Like he was here out of obligation, not ambition. Like he didn't particularly care who noticed him. In a room full of peacocks, he was the only person not trying to spread his feathers. No idea, Sophia said. Well, he keeps looking over here. Everyone keeps looking over here. Not like that, Claire grinned. That's not a, I want to pitch you my startup look. That's a, you're an actual human being look. When's the last time someone looked at you like that? Sophia didn't answer, because she couldn't remember. 20 minutes later, she found herself standing next to him at the bar. It hadn't been planned. She'd simply migrated that direction while avoiding a particularly aggressive venture capitalist. And suddenly there he was, ordering water instead of alcohol. Not drinking? She asked. He glanced at her and his eyes were gray, steady. I'm driving. Most people here just expense a car service. I'm not most people here. It wasn't said arrogantly, just factual. Sophia studied him. Up close, he looked older than she'd initially thought. Early 30s, maybe? There were lines around his eyes that suggested he smiled often, but also that he'd seen things that weren't particularly funny. His watch was a basic Timex. His wedding ring finger had a slight tan line where a band used to be. I'm Sophia. I know who you are. He accepted his water from the bartender. Noah Bennett. And what brings you to my extremely boring party, Noah Bennett? Your extremely boring party is a corporate leadership summit. I work for one of the partner firms. Which one? Sterling Analytics. She knew Sterling, mid-size consulting firm. Smart people, decent reputation, but not flashy. What do you do there? Senior analyst. I run probability models for market forecasting. That sounds remarkably specific. It is. He took a drink. I make boring things predictable. Despite herself, Sophia felt the corner of her mouth twitch. And is it working? Usually. Noah looked at her directly. Though I'll admit, I didn't predict I'd end up talking to you tonight. Because I'm terrifying? Because you looked like you wanted to be anywhere else. The honesty caught her off guard. Most people either kissed up to her or acted intimidated. Noah did neither. I did want to be anywhere else, she admitted. I hate these things. Then why host them? Because it's expected. Because business relationships matter. Because... She stopped. I don't know, actually. Probably because I've been doing them for so long, I forgot to ask why. Noah nodded slowly, like this made perfect sense. I get that. Momentum is dangerous that way. What do you mean? People build their whole lives around patterns they never questioned. Wake up, work, meetings, events, sleep, repeat. Then one day they look around and realize they're living someone else's idea of success. Sophia stared at him. That's uncomfortably accurate. Sorry. Don't be. She leaned against the bar. So what's your version of success then? For the first time, something shifted in his expression. Not quite a smile, but softer. Being where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. That's it? That's everything. Before she could respond, Noah checked his watch, that basic Timex, and his face changed. I need to go. Now! It's barely 9. I know. He set down his water glass. But my daughter is waiting for me. The word daughter hit her like cold water. You're leaving the biggest networking event of the year, Sophia said slowly, because of bedtime? Yes. Noah met her eyes, and there wasn't a trace of apology in them. Every single time. That's... She didn't know what to say. Admirable? Crazy? Career suicide? Honest, Noah finished. It's honest. He extended his hand. It was good to meet you, Sophia. She shook his hand automatically, her brain still trying to process what was happening. Men didn't walk away from her. Not at events like this. Not when a conversation could lead to connections, opportunities, advancement. Wait, she heard herself say. We barely talked. We talked for 20 minutes. He smiled, and it was genuine. That's longer than most people get your real attention. Thank you for that. Then he walked away. Just like that. Through the crowd of people who would have killed for 5 minutes of her time, past the executives and investors and social climbers, straight to the coat check. Sophia stood frozen at the bar, watching him disappear. Claire appeared at her elbow. Did that man just walk away from you in the middle of a conversation? Yes. Is he insane? Sophia watched Noah's figure vanish through the ballroom doors. I don't think so, she said quietly. I think he might be the only sane person here. We'll see. She didn't sleep that night. At 2 a.m., Sophia stood in her penthouse apartment, 4,000 square feet of glass, steel, and carefully curated emptiness, and couldn't stop replaying the conversation. My daughter is waiting for me. 4 years of building Langford Technologies into an empire, and no one had ever said anything to her that felt that real, that certain, that completely unbothered by who she was or what she could offer. Noah Bennett had walked away from her like she was just another person at a party, and somehow that felt more intimate than any of the careful flattery she heard every day. Her phone buzzed. Email from Singapore. She ignored it. The city stretched out below her windows, millions of lights representing millions of lives she'd never know. Somewhere out there, Noah Bennett was probably reading his daughter a bedtime story. Or maybe she was already asleep and he was doing whatever single fathers do when the house is finally quiet. Sophia realized she had no idea what that life looked like. Her own childhood had been fractured. Parents who divorced when she was 8, a mother who remarried 3 times and forgot to call on birthdays, a father who moved to Arizona and started a new family, like the first one had been a rough draft. She'd raised herself, more or less, got into Northwestern on scholarship, graduated top of her class, built a company because building something that couldn't leave felt safer than trusting people who could. And now she was 30, successful beyond measure, and didn't have a single person who'd notice if she didn't come home. Her phone buzzed again. Tokyo this time. She picked it up and threw it across the room. It landed on the couch, still buzzing. Barso. The next morning, Sophia did something she hadn't done in 3 years. She asked her assistant for background information on an employee. Noah Bennett, she said, keeping her voice carefully neutral. Senior analyst at Sterling. I want to know why he's still in that position. Her assistant, Jennifer, a frighteningly competent woman who'd been with her since year 1, didn't even blink. I'll have something by lunch. The report arrived at 11:47 a.m. Sophia read it twice. Noah Bennett, age 32. Hired by Sterling Analytics 6 years ago, fresh out of a PhD program in applied mathematics. Initial performance, exceptional. Promoted twice in his first 18 months, offered a junior partnership at age 28. He turned it down. Offered again at 29. Turned it down again. At 30, offered a director position that would have put him on track for senior leadership. Also declined. His current supervisor's notes were telling. Brilliant analyst, refuses advancement, won't work past 5 p.m. under any circumstances. Turned down the Millbrook project despite being the most qualified. Not a team player when it comes to flexibility. But then, buried in the middle of his HR file, she found it. Emergency contact. Emma Bennett, daughter, age 7. Other emergency contact, none listed. Marital status, widowed. She sat back in her chair. Widowed. Her phone rang. She ignored it, read the file again. There was a gap in his employment history. 3 months, 4 years ago. She cross-referenced the dates with public records, something she absolutely shouldn't be doing but did anyway. Cancer Treatment Center, Northwestern Memorial. Patient name, Rachel Bennett. Noah's wife. She died 4 weeks after he'd taken that 3-month leave. Emma would have been 3 years old. Sophia closed the file and stared at her computer screen until the monitor went dark. She told herself to forget about it. Told herself it was none of her business. That she had a company to run, a board meeting in 2 days, 3 acquisition deals in progress, and approximately 800 better uses of her mental energy. But that afternoon, when she should have been reviewing Q3 projections, she instead found herself looking up Sterling Analytics' client project list. Noah's name appeared on 17 active engagements, all of them strategic, all of them high value. And every single one had notes indicating he was the lead analyst, but refused project management responsibilities. Delivers excellent work, but inflexible on hours. Won't attend client dinners or off-site meetings, unavailable for emergency weekend work. In any other industry, that would be career death. But Noah's actual analysis work was so good that Sterling kept him anyway. She found a presentation he'd done 2 years ago for a manufacturing client, dense, technical, the kind of thing that should have been boring. But his writing was clear, precise. He didn't hide behind jargon or inflate his conclusions. Just, here's what the data says, here's what it means, here's what you should do about it. Sophia had read thousands of business reports. Most were garbage dressed up to look smart. Noah's was just honest, like him. 2 weeks later, Langford Technologies faced a crisis. A data breach. Not massive, but bad enough. Customer information potentially compromised, stock price dropping, media circling, board panicking. Sophia called an emergency meeting with every consulting firm they had on retainer. Sterling Analytics sent 3 people. Noah wasn't one of them. The meeting was a disaster. Lots of talk, 0 solutions. By hour 2, Sophia was ready to fire everyone in the room. This is unacceptable, she said, cutting off someone's presentation about proactive reputation management strategies. I don't need PowerPoints. I need to know how the breach happened and how to make sure it doesn't happen again. The Sterling team leader, a man named Richard, who wore too much cologne, cleared his throat. Miss Langford, we're still analyzing the, you've had 2 weeks. Well, yes, but the complexity of the, get out. Richard blinked. I'm sorry? Everyone out. Now, send me someone who actually knows what they're doing. The room emptied in under a minute. Jennifer appeared in the doorway. Should I reschedule with Sterling? No, tell them I want Noah Bennett. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., non-negotiable. The analyst? Yes. Jennifer made a note. They're going to push back. He apparently doesn't do client meetings. Then tell them to make an exception, Sophia said, or I'm terminating our contract with them entirely.
Bobus all.
Noah arrived at 9:02 a.m. Sophia watched him walk across her office, taking in the slight shadows under his eyes, the coffee cup in his hand, the complete lack of nervousness that should have been there. "You're late," she said. "Sorry, my daughter had a wardrobe crisis involving which shoes matched her favorite dress. We had a lengthy negotiation." Despite everything, Sophia felt herself fighting a smile. "And who won?" "She did. I now have pink sparkly sneakers in my car because we reached a compromise." Noah sat down without being invited. "Your assistant said you wanted to talk about the breach. You've reviewed the case?" "I've reviewed everything Sterling has on it, which isn't much." "And?" Noah pulled out a tablet. "Your security team isn't incompetent. The breach didn't happen because of bad passwords or phishing emails. It happened because someone inside your company created an access backdoor 18 months ago." Sophia went very still. "That's impossible. We have protocols. You have excellent protocols for external threats. But this was internal." He turned the tablet toward her. "See this pattern? Data was being siphoned in small amounts over 14 months. Whoever did it knew exactly how much they could take without triggering your monitoring systems. You figured this out in 2 weeks? I figured it out in 3 days, spent the rest of the time confirming it." Noah met her eyes. "You have a mole, Ms. Langford, and they're still actively employed here." The room felt 10 degrees colder. "Who?" "I don't know yet, but I can find out if you want me to." Sophia studied him. There was no grandstanding, no dramatic presentation, just a man telling her the truth because that's what she'd asked for. "How long will it take?" "Give me access to your complete personnel database and network logs. 3 days? Maybe 4? "Done. Jennifer will set you up with—" "I can't work here," Noah interrupted. She frowned. "What?" "I need to be at my own office. I have childcare arrangements that don't flex." "Mr. Bennett, this is a multi-million-dollar crisis." "I understand, but my answer doesn't change." He stood up. "I'll work as fast as I can. I'll deliver results. But I can't do it from here, and I can't work past 5 o'clock. "That's completely unreasonable." "It's completely non-negotiable." They stared at each other. Sophia had fired people for less, had ended contracts over smaller inconveniences. Every instinct told her to tell him to get out, find someone else, someone flexible and grateful for the opportunity. But she'd seen his work, and she needed someone who wouldn't BS her. "Fine," she said, "but I want daily updates." "You'll have them." Noah headed for the door, then paused. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry this happened to your company. I know you built it yourself. That makes this kind of violation personal." He left before she could respond. But Noah delivered in 3 days. The mole was Marcus Chen, a mid-level IT administrator who'd been selling customer data to a competitor. He'd been smart about it. Small amounts, careful timing, covered his tracks well. But Noah had found him anyway. The police arrested Marcus at his desk. The stock price stabilized. The board stopped panicking. Crisis averted. Sophia called Noah directly. "You just saved my company millions of dollars," she said when he picked up, "just doing the job. Most people would use this as leverage. Ask for a promotion, a raise, a bigger role." Noah laughed. It was the first time she'd heard him do that. "Ms. Langford, I'm not most people. So I'm learning." She hesitated. "I'd like to offer you a position at Langford Technologies. Head of Analytics. You'd report directly to me. Salary? No." "You didn't let me finish. I don't need you to. The answer is no." Sophia felt something twist in her chest. Frustration, maybe. Or something uncomfortably close to hurt. "Can I ask why?" "Because that job would own my life. And my life isn't for sale." "Everyone's life is for sale, Mr. Bennett. It's just a question of price." "That's the saddest thing I've heard all week." The words were gentle, but they landed like a punch. "I didn't mean—" Sophia stopped. "I'm not trying to insult you. I know. You're trying to understand me." Noah's voice softened. "Here's the thing. 4 years ago, my wife died. And in the hospital, right at the end, she made me promise something. She made me promise that Emma would always know her father showed up, that I wouldn't let work or money or ambition take me away from being her dad." Sophia sat down. Noah, I have a good job. It pays well enough. It lets me be home when she needs me, and that's all I want. Not because I lack ambition, but because I already have everything that matters. She didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know how to argue with someone who'd already found what she was still desperately searching for. You're a better person than I am, she said quietly. I doubt that. But maybe I just have clearer priorities. He paused. If you ever want to talk about what actually matters instead of what looks impressive on paper, call me. Otherwise, I hope you find someone great for that position. He hung up. Sophia sat in her office until the sun went down, staring at nothing. That weekend, she drove to Emma's school. She didn't plan it, didn't know she was going to do it until she was already in the car, GPS routing her to Roosevelt Elementary on the northwest side. It was Saturday morning. The parking lot was nearly empty except for a few cars near the playground. One of them was Noah's. She recognized it from the company database, a 5-year-old Honda Civic with a car seat in the back. Sophia parked 3 spaces away and watched. Noah stood near the swings, pushing a little girl who shrieked with laughter every time she went high. The girl, Emma, obviously, had dark hair like her father's and wore the pink sparkly sneakers he'd mentioned. Higher, Daddy. Any higher and you'll achieve orbit. I want to achieve orbit. Noah laughed and pushed harder. Sophia watched them through her windshield, something painful expanding in her chest. This was what he'd walked away from her party for. This was what he chose over promotions and money and opportunity. A little girl on a swing. And watching them, Sophia understood with devastating clarity that Noah wasn't the one who'd walked away from something valuable that night. She was. Emma jumped off the swing mid-arc, landed badly, and scraped her knee. Noah was there in seconds, kneeling beside her, checking the scrape, while Emma tried very hard not to cry. You're okay, he said gently. Just a scratch. You're tough. It hurts. I know, but you know what helps? What? Ice cream. Emma's tears stopped immediately. Chocolate? Is there any other kind? Sophia put the car in reverse and left before they could see her. Consent. Monday morning, she called her assistant. Jennifer, I want to make a donation. To what organization? Roosevelt Elementary, Northwest Side. I want to fund their entire arts program for the next 3 years, anonymously. Jennifer paused. That's unusually specific. Just do it. How much are we talking? Whatever it takes. New supplies, teacher salaries, field trips, everything. I want those kids to have the best arts education in the city. Consider it done. Jennifer made notes. Can I ask what prompted this? Sophia thought about Emma's laugh, about Noah's hands checking her scraped knee, about the way he'd said ice cream like it was the solution to everything. No, she said. You can't. Shut. The weeks blurred together. Board meetings, product launches, acquisitions, the normal chaos of running an empire. But Sophia found herself thinking about Noah at strange moments, during presentations, in the middle of negotiations, late at night when the city was quiet and her penthouse felt like a museum. She told herself it was just curiosity, professional interest. He was an outlier in a world of predictable people, and outliers were always interesting, but that wasn't it. The truth was simpler and more terrifying. Noah Bennett had shown her a different version of success, and she couldn't unsee it. 3 weeks after the data breach, she did something unprecedented. She left work at 4:30 p.m. Jennifer stared at her like she'd announced she was joining a cult. You're leaving? Now? You have a call with London at 5. Reschedule it. But they've been waiting for... Jennifer, reschedule it. She drove to Roosevelt Elementary without knowing why. The parking lot was full of parents picking up kids. Sophia sat in her car, a BMW that cost more than most of these families made in a year, and watched. At 3:15 exactly, the doors opened and children poured out. Emma ran straight to Noah, who caught her and spun her around like she weighed nothing. Daddy, guess what? You discovered a new planet? No, Emma giggled. We're getting a new art teacher and new supplies, and there's going to be a play. That's amazing, sweetheart. Ms. Rodriguez said someone donated a whole bunch of money, like a secret superhero. Noah smiled. Well, whoever it is, they must really believe in art. I'm going to make them the best painting ever to say thank you. I'm sure they'd love that. Sophia's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Emma spotted something across the parking lot, another little girl, and took off running. Noah followed at a more reasonable pace, hands in his pockets, completely unaware he was being watched. Sophia took a shaky breath. This was insane. She was a billionaire CEO sitting in an elementary school parking lot, watching a man who'd made it clear he wasn't interested in anything she could offer. But she couldn't make herself leave, couldn't make herself stop wondering what it would feel like to be part of something this simple, this real. To have someone run toward you like Emma ran toward Noah. To matter to someone because of who you were, not what you built. Her phone rang. The office. She sent it to voicemail. Across the parking lot, Noah helped Emma into her car seat, listening to her chatter about her day with the kind of attention Sophia usually reserved for multi-million-dollar deals. And watching them, Sophia Langford, who'd built an empire on being smarter, tougher, and more ruthless than everyone else, finally admitted something she'd been avoiding for weeks. She was lonely. Not alone. Lonely. And all the money in the world couldn't fix it. The fourth time Sophia drove to Roosevelt Elementary, she actually got out of the car. It was a Tuesday. She'd left a product launch meeting early, something that would have been unthinkable 6 months ago, and found herself pulling into the now familiar parking lot at 3:10 p.m. This time, she didn't just watch. She walked toward this building, her heels clicking on the pavement, feeling absurdly out of place in her tailored suit while surrounded by parents in jeans and sweatshirts. A few of them glanced at her, probably wondering if she was lost. She was, just not in the way they thought. The school doors opened and the flood of children began. Sophia stood off to the side, scanning the crowd for a little girl with dark hair and pink sneakers. Emma appeared third in line, talking animatedly to another girl. She hadn't spotted Noah yet, and Noah wasn't in his usual spot by the bike racks. Emma's face fell when she looked around and didn't see him. The other girl's mother came to collect her daughter, and Emma stood alone, clutching her backpack straps. Sophia checked her watch. 3:17. Noah was never late. At 3:19, Emma's lower lip started to tremble. Sophia found herself walking over before she'd consciously decided to. Emma? The little girl looked up, eyes shining with the beginning of tears. My daddy's not here. I'm sure he's just running a little late. He's never late, Emma's voice cracked. Never ever. Sophia crouched down, not caring that her Prada skirt was touching the dirty pavement. What's your teacher's name? Miss Rodriguez. Okay, let's go find Miss Rodriguez and... A car screeched into the parking lot. Noah's Civic, moving faster than it should in a school zone. He was out of the car before it fully stopped, sprinting toward them. Emma, baby, I'm so sorry. Emma ran to him and he swept her up, holding her tight. There was an accident on the highway, Noah said, breathless. I left early, but the traffic was completely stopped. I couldn't move. I tried to call the school, but... He finally registered Sophia standing there. Ms. Langford? I was just making sure she was okay. Noah set Emma down but kept one hand on her shoulder. Thank you. Thank you. Emma wiped her eyes. I thought something happened to you. Nothing happened to me. I'm fine, just stupid traffic. Noah knelt to her level. I'm sorry I scared you. You promised you'd always be here. The words were a child's accusation, but they hit Noah like a physical blow. Sophia could see it in the way his jaw tightened. You're right. I did promise. And I'm here now, okay? I'm here. Emma nodded, but she didn't let go of his hand. Noah stood up, looking at Sophia with an expression she couldn't quite read. Gratitude, maybe. And something else. Embarrassment, possibly, that she'd witnessed this. Were you picking someone up? He asked. The lie would have been easy. She could have said yes, a friend's kid, a colleague's daughter, anything. No, Sophia heard herself say. I was just here. Understanding flickered across Noah's face. He didn't question it. Didn't ask why a billionaire CEO would be standing in an elementary school parking lot in the middle of the afternoon. He just nodded. Emma, he said gently, can you say thank you to Ms. Langford for staying with you? Thank you, Emma said quietly. You're welcome. They stood there in awkward silence while other parents and children flowed around them. I should go. Sophia finally said. Wait, Noah shifted Emma to his other side. I owe you coffee at least. For this. You don't owe me anything. I know, but I'm offering anyway. He glanced at Emma. What do you think, Em? Should we invite Ms. Langford for hot chocolate? Emma studied Sophia with the brutal honesty of 7-year-olds. She looks too fancy for our hot chocolate place. Despite everything, Sophia laughed. I promise I'm not too fancy. She's wearing really high shoes. I can take them off. Emma considered this. Okay, but you have to promise not to talk about boring work stuff. Daddy's work friends always talk about boring stuff. Deal. 20 minutes later, Sophia found herself in a cramped diner called Rosie's, sitting in a booth held together with duct tape, surrounded by the smell of grease and coffee. Her shoes were indeed off. Emma had insisted, and she was drinking hot chocolate from a chipped mug. It was the best thing she'd tasted in months. Emma sat between them, swinging her legs and explaining in elaborate detail the difference between good crayons and bad crayons. Noah listened like she was presenting a doctoral thesis. And the blue ones break all the time, Emma said seriously, especially the light blue. It's like they don't even try to make them strong. That's a design flaw, Noah agreed, a really bad one. Sophia watched them, something warm and painful expanding in her chest. This was what she'd been missing, not the hot chocolate or the diner or even the conversation. This, the way Noah looked at his daughter like she was the center of the universe, the way Emma trusted that he'd always listen, even about crayons. The certainty that they had each other. Miss Langford. She blinked. Emma was staring at her. Sorry, what? I asked what your favorite color is. Oh, blue, I think. Light blue or dark blue? Dark blue. Emma nodded approvingly. That's a good choice. Dark blue doesn't break as much. Noah caught Sophia's eye over his daughter's head and smiled. Not the polite professional smile from the gala. A real one. She smiled back before she could stop herself. So, Noah said, steering his mug in slow circles on the table, are you going to tell me why you were really at Emma's school? I told you. I was just... Here, I know. He kept his voice light, but his eyes were serious. I'm not judging. I'm just curious. Sophia looked down at her hot chocolate. The truth felt too big and too vulnerable to say out loud. I don't know, she said finally. I left work early and just ended up there. You left work early. I do that now sometimes. Since when? Since I met you. The words hung between them. Emma, oblivious, had found a handful of crayons in her backpack and was drawing on her napkin. Noah didn't look away from Sophia. Why? Because you made me realize I've been living wrong. I don't think there's a wrong way to live. There is when you build everything around work and then look up and realize you don't have anything else. Sophia wrapped both hands around her mug. You have this whole life, this daughter who adores you, routines that matter, moments that count, and I have a very nice apartment. You have a company. You built something from nothing. That's not worthless. It's not enough. Noah was quiet for a moment. What would be enough? I don't know. That's the problem. Daddy? Emma interrupted. Can I have quarters for the gumball machine? Noah pulled some change from his pocket without looking away from Sophia. Stay where we can see you. Emma slid out of the booth and skipped toward the ancient gumball machine near the door. She's beautiful, Sophia said. She is, and exhausting and stubborn, and the best thing that ever happened to me. Noah watched his daughter trying to decide between red and green. After Rachel died, I thought I'd die too. Not literally, but in every way that mattered. I couldn't see past the grief. Couldn't imagine a future. What changed? Emma needed breakfast and lunch, and someone to help with her homework. She needed her shoes tied and her hair brushed and bedtime stories. He smiled sadly. You can't fall apart when someone needs you to be whole. So I learned how to be whole again. Differently than before, but whole. Sophia felt tears threatening. She blinked them back hard. I'm sorry about your wife. Thank you. Noah turned back to her. Can I ask you something? When's the last time you did something just because it made you happy? She opened her mouth to answer and realized she couldn't. That's what I thought, Noah said gently. Emma returned with a green gumball, proudly displaying it like a trophy. Look! Perfect choice, Noah said. They stayed for another hour. Emma drew pictures while Noah and Sophia talked about everything except work. Books, Chicago winters, the weird satisfaction of finding a good parking spot. Normal things. Human things. Sophia couldn't remember the last time she'd had a conversation like this. When they finally left, the sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Noah walked Sophia to her car while Emma collected stray leaves from the parking lot. "Thank you," Sophia said, "for the hot chocolate. Thank you for staying with Emma today. That meant a lot." "I didn't do anything." "You did more than you think." Noah hesitated. "Look, I don't know what you're looking for or why you keep showing up at my daughter's school, but whatever it is, I hope you find it." "What if I don't know what it is?" "Then maybe start with what makes you feel like yourself. Not like a CEO or a billionaire or whatever Forbes calls you. Just yourself." "I'm not sure I know who that is anymore." "Then that's where you start." Emma ran back with a handful of leaves. "Daddy, can Ms. Langford come to my school play?" Noah looked at Sophia. "You don't have to." "When is it?" Sophia asked. 3 weeks, November 15th at 7. "I'll be there." Emma beamed. "Really?" "Really." Driving home, Sophia realized she'd just committed to a second-grade play. She had a board dinner that night, could probably reschedule it. Should definitely reschedule it. She scheduled it anyway. At a red light, she caught her reflection in the rearview mirror and barely recognized herself. Her lipstick had worn off, her hair was loose from its usual tight bun. She was holding a napkin with Emma's crayon drawing, a stick figure family labeled Daddy Me and the Fancy Lady. She put it in her glove compartment instead of throwing it away. When she got home, Jennifer called immediately. "Where were you? The London office has been trying to reach you for 3 hours." "I was busy." "With what?" "Personal matters." Jennifer paused. In 4 years of working together, Sophia had never used that phrase. "Are you okay?" Jennifer asked carefully. "I don't know," Sophia said honestly, "but I think I'm trying to be." Over the next 2 weeks, Sophia kept leaving work early. Not every day, but enough that people noticed. Enough that her CFO made a joke about her new hobby during a meeting. She started showing up at Roosevelt Elementary, not to watch from her car anymore, actually showing up. At first, she just walked the grounds, sat on a bench near the playground, watched kids play during recess through the fence. Then one afternoon, a teacher approached her. "Can I help you find something?" The woman was older, maybe 60, with kind eyes and paint stains on her cardigan. Her name tag read Ms. Rodriguez. "I'm just observing," Sophia said, which sounded creepy the moment it left her mouth. "Are you thinking about enrolling a child here?" "No, I don't have children." Ms. Rodriguez sat down on the bench beside her. "But you're here anyway." "I made a donation to the arts program. I wanted to see how it was being used." "You're the secret superhero." Ms. Rodriguez smiled. "The kids have been speculating about who you are. Most think you're a wizard." Despite herself, Sophia laughed. "Close enough." "That donation changed everything for us. We were about to cut the program entirely. Now we have supplies, field trips planned, guest artists coming in." Ms. Rodriguez gestured toward the playground where kids were drawing with sidewalk chalk. "You gave these kids their creativity back." Sophia watched a little girl, not Emma, drawing an elaborate hopscotch grid. "I just wrote a check." "You did more than that. You saw a need and filled it. That matters." Miss Rodriguez stood up. "We're always looking for volunteers if you're interested. Reading partners, art assistants, field trip chaperones." "I don't know anything about kids." "Neither did I before I started teaching. You learn." She handed Sophia a flyer. "Think about it." That night, Sophia filled out the volunteer application. She told herself it was just curiosity, a way to see where her money was going. Definitely not because she wanted to be part of something that mattered in a way that quarterly earnings didn't. Definitely not because she wanted to see more of Noah and Emma. The background check came back clean, obviously. And 2 weeks later, Sophia Langford found herself standing in a second-grade classroom wearing jeans and a sweater instead of a suit. It was terrifying. 23 7-year-olds stared at her like she was an alien, which, in this environment, she basically was. Ms. Rodriguez clapped her hands. "Class, this is Miss Langford. She's going to be helping with our art projects on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hi, Miss Langford, the class chorused. Emma sat in the third row, eyes wide with surprise. She clearly hadn't expected the fancy lady to show up here. Neither had Sophia, honestly. Today we're making collages, Ms. Rodriguez explained. Grab magazines, scissors, glue, and help them cut out pictures that represent their favorite things. It should have been simple. It was chaos. Kids arguing over magazines, glue everywhere. One boy tried to eat the glue stick. A girl burst into tears because someone else cut out the picture of the puppy she wanted. Sophia had negotiated with hostile boards, fired executives, navigated corporate warfare. None of it had prepared her for this. Ms. Langford! A small hand tugged her sleeve. Tommy took my scissors! Did not. Did too. Sophia looked helplessly at Ms. Rodriguez, who just smiled and mouthed, You've got this. She didn't have this, but she tried anyway. By the end of class, her sweater had glue on it, her hair had somehow acquired glitter, and she'd mediated approximately 17 disputes. She'd also never felt more alive. Emma approached her as the kids were cleaning up. You came back. I did. Why? It was the same question Noah had asked, the same question Sophia kept asking herself. Because I wanted to, she said, and meant it. Emma considered this. Okay, but next time you should wear clothes that can get messy. Those are too nice. Noted. That afternoon, waiting in the parking lot for Noah to arrive, Sophia checked her phone for the first time in 3 hours. 47 emails, 12 missed calls, 3 texts from Jennifer asking if she'd been kidnapped. She put the phone away. Noah pulled up at 3:15 exactly, saw Sophia standing there with glitter in her hair, and started laughing. What happened to you? Second grade art class happened to me. You volunteered? Apparently I did. Emma ran to him. Daddy, Miss Langford helped us make collages, and she's really bad at it, but she tried really hard. Thanks, Em, Sophia said dryly. Noah was still grinning. So the corporate raider has been defeated by collages. Completely destroyed. How does it feel? Sophia thought about the chaos, the glue, the arguments about scissors, the little girl who'd showed her 17 pictures of her cat and explained each one in detail. Good, she said. It feels good. Something shifted in Noah's expression. You're serious about this. I think I am. Why? I'm still figuring that out. They stood there while other parents came and went. Emma had found a friend, and they were comparing their collages. Do you want to grab coffee? Noah asked suddenly. Actual coffee, not diner hot chocolate? Don't you have to get home? Emma has a play date at her friend's house. I have 2 hours of freedom. He said it like it was a rare treasure, which for him, it probably was. Then yes. They ended up at a quiet cafe 3 blocks from the school. Emma went home with her friend Mia and Mia's very enthusiastic mother, who winked at Noah in a way that suggested this was a setup. Noah pretended not to notice. Sophia pretended she didn't care. They both ordered black coffee and sat by the window. So, Noah said, volunteering at my daughter's school. That's either very sweet or very concerning. I haven't decided which yet. Fair enough. He wrapped his hands around his mug. Can I ask you something? You're going to anyway. True. He smiled slightly. Why are you really doing this? And please don't say you just want to help. Billionaires who just want to help don't show up twice a week covered in glitter. Sophia looked out the window, cars passing, people walking, normal life happening all around them. I'm 30 years old, she said quietly. I've built a company worth billions. I'm on magazine covers. I've given keynote speeches to thousands of people, and I am completely, devastatingly lonely. Noah didn't interrupt. I go home to an empty apartment every night. I work 80-hour weeks. My last relationship ended 3 years ago because I missed our anniversary dinner for a conference call. I don't have close friends. My family barely speaks to me, and I thought that was fine. I thought success was enough. What changed? You did. She looked at him. You walked away from me at that gala. Walked away from opportunity and money and everything people kill for in my world. And you did it without hesitation because your daughter was waiting. And I realized I don't have anyone waiting for me. I never have. Noah was quiet for a long moment. That's not about me, he said finally. That's about you figuring out what you actually want. I know. But watching you with Emma, seeing what you have, it made me realize how empty my life is. So you're volunteering at an elementary school to fill the void? Maybe. Or maybe I'm just trying to remember what it feels like to matter to someone for reasons that have nothing to do with money. Noah leaned back. You matter to those kids. They talk about the nice glitter lady constantly. I'm the glitter lady now. Welcome to teaching. Everyone gets a nickname. He smiled. Look, I'm not going to pretend I understand what it's like to be you, but I know what it's like to rebuild your life. After Rachel died, I had to figure out who I was beyond being someone's husband. Had to learn how to be Emma's dad alone. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. How did you do it? One day at a time. One meal, one bedtime story, one school pickup. Small moments that added up to something bigger. He met her eyes. You can't fix loneliness with grand gestures. You fix it with showing up, consistently, for people who matter. Is that what I'm doing? Showing up? I think you're trying to. Noah hesitated. But you need to know, Emma's been through enough loss. If you're going to be part of her life, even peripherally, you can't just disappear when this stops being interesting. The words were gentle but firm. I won't disappear. You say that now, but your world is acquisitions and board meetings. This is glue sticks and playground duty. Eventually, you're going to realize this isn't where you belong. You don't know that. Don't I? Noah's voice was kind but honest. People like you don't stay in places like this. You get bored or busy or both, and that's fine. But Emma's 7. She doesn't understand complicated adult reasons for why people leave. She just knows they're gone. Sophia felt something tight in her chest. I'm not going to hurt her, not on purpose, but you might anyway. He drank his coffee. I'm not trying to be harsh, I'm just being realistic. You're searching for something, and I hope you find it. But please don't use my daughter as a way to figure out your life. The words stung because they were true. Was that what she was doing? Using Emma and Noah as some kind of life experiment? A way to feel better about her empty penthouse and her hollow success? I should go, she said. Sophia. No, you're right. I don't know what this was, but you're right to protect her. She stood up. Noah caught her wrist. Wait, I didn't mean... He sighed. I'm sorry, that came out harsher than I intended. It was honest. Honest and harsh aren't mutually exclusive. He let go of her wrist. Look, I don't want you to leave. I just need to know you're serious, that this isn't some billionaire phase where you play at normal life for a few weeks and then go back to your real world. What if I don't want to go back? Then you won't, but that's a choice only you can make. They sat in silence. Outside, the sun was setting. Emma would need to be picked up soon. Sophia's phone was buzzing in her purse, probably Jennifer having a breakdown. I don't have the answers, Sophia said finally. I don't know what I'm doing or why I'm here or what I want, but I know that for the first time in years, I feel like I'm moving towards something instead of running from something, and that has to count for something. Noah studied her face. Okay. Okay? Okay. Keep volunteering. Keep showing up. We'll figure out the rest as we go. He checked his watch. I need to get Emma. Want to come? To the playdate pickup? Why not? Mia's mom will ask invasive questions and Emma will be hopped up on juice boxes, but it's never boring. Sophia found herself smiling. Sure. They walked to his car together, and for a moment, standing in the parking lot of a random cafe on a Tuesday evening, Sophia felt something she hadn't felt in years. Hope that maybe, just maybe, she could build a different kind of life. One that didn't fit on a Forbes list, but felt like coming home. Mia's mother, whose name was Karen, and who had the energy of someone who drank too much coffee and not enough water, opened the door before they even knocked. Noah! And you brought a friend! Her eyes went straight to Sophia with the kind of interest that made Sophia want to run back to her car. This is Sophia. She volunteers at the school. The glitter lady! Karen practically shouted. Emma talks about you constantly. Come in, come in. The house was exactly what Sophia expected. Toys everywhere, crayon marks on the walls, the faint smell of macaroni and cheese. 2 girls sat at the kitchen table, faces painted like cats, giggling hysterically about something only 7-year-olds found funny. Emma spotted her dad and launched herself at him. "Daddy, look! I'm a tiger!" "You're definitely something." Noah wiped orange face paint off his jacket. "Did you have fun?" "So much fun. We played princesses and then zoo animals, and then Mia's mom let us have cookies before dinner, and Emma finally noticed Sophia. "Why is Ms. Langford here?" "She came to help pick you up." Emma processed this information with the seriousness of a judge. "Okay, but she needs a cat face too." "I don't think," Sophia started. "Everyone needs a cat face," Emma insisted. Karen was already pulling out the face paint. "She's right. House rules." 20 minutes later, Sophia sat in her BMW with whiskers painted on her cheeks, watching Noah strap Emma into her car seat through the rearview mirror. Her phone had stopped buzzing. Jennifer had probably given up and assumed she was dead. She looked ridiculous. She didn't care. Noah got in his car and Emma waved at Sophia through the window, all face paint and missing teeth and pure joy. Sophia waved back. Her phone finally rang. She answered. "You're alive," Jennifer said flatly. "Mostly. The Singapore deal needs your signature tonight. The board is asking why you weren't at this afternoon's meeting, and Marcus from PR wants to know if you're still planning to do the Forbes interview tomorrow." Sophia looked at her reflection again. Billionaire CEO, cat whiskers. The dichotomy was absurd. "Reschedule the interview. I'll sign the Singapore papers from home. Tell the board I had a personal emergency." "Did you?" "In a way." Jennifer was quiet for a moment. "Boss, are you okay? You've been different lately." "Different how?" "Different like you're becoming an actual human being instead of a work robot. It's unsettling." Despite everything, Sophia laughed. "I'll try to be more robotic tomorrow." "Don't. I kind of like this version better." Sophia drove home through evening traffic, still wearing the whiskers. At a red light, a man in the next car stared at her. She stared back until he looked away. Her apartment felt even emptier than usual. She poured a glass of wine, signed the Singapore documents, and sat by the window looking at the city. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Emma wanted me to tell you that you made a very good cat." "This is Noah, by the way." Sophia smiled. "How did you get my number?" "You're in the school volunteer directory. Emma is now demanding I tell you that tigers are better than cats, but you did good anyway. Please tell Emma that tigers are technically big cats, so I'm taking the compliment." 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. "She says you're smart and can come to her birthday party next month if you want." Sophia stared at the message. A 7-year-old's birthday party. She'd probably be the only adult there who wasn't a parent. She'd have to buy a present. Probably sing songs. Definitely eat cake. "I'd love to come. Fair warning, it's at an indoor playground. Very loud. Lots of screaming children. I negotiate with venture capitalists. I can handle screaming children." Famous last words. Sophia fell asleep that night with her phone on her chest, a smile on her face, and cat whiskers still faintly visible on her cheeks. The next morning, she woke up to 17 missed calls and a minor crisis at work. One of their largest clients was threatening to walk over a product delay. The kind of crisis that would have consumed her entire day 6 months ago. She handled it in 90 minutes, delegated the follow-up, and left the office at 2. Her executive team looked at her like she'd grown a second head. "I have a commitment," was all she said. The commitment was art class at Roosevelt Elementary, where 23 children were attempting to paint self-portraits, and somehow getting more paint on themselves than on paper. Emma had painted herself with purple hair and wings. "That's very creative," Sophia said, studying the masterpiece. "Ms. Rodriguez says art is about expressing yourself." Ms. Rodriguez is right. "So if I express myself with purple hair, can I get real purple hair?" "That's a conversation for your dad." Emma grinned. "He'll say no." "Probably." They worked in comfortable silence for a while. Sophia helped kids mix colors, found lost paintbrushes, and wiped up approximately 3 gallons of spilled water. A boy named Marcus, not to be confused with the data thief Marcus, though Sophia couldn't help the association, approached her with his painting. "Is this good?" he asked nervously. The painting was of a house. Just a house. Simple and careful and completely lacking the wild creativity of the other kids' work. "It's very good," Sophia said. "Tell me about it." "It's my house. That's my room." He pointed to a window. And that's where my mom's flowers are. Do you help her with the flowers? Marcus nodded. Every Sunday. She says I'm good at remembering to water them. That's an important skill. He smiled, relaxed now. My dad says I should paint something cooler, like robots or dinosaurs. Sophia knelt down to his level. Can I tell you something? What? The best art is honest art, and if you love that house and those flowers, that's what you should paint. Don't paint what other people think is cool. Paint what matters to you. Marcus considered this. Okay. He went back to his seat, and Sophia stood up to find Ms. Rodriguez watching her. You're good at this, the teacher said quietly. At what? Seeing them. Really seeing them. Ms. Rodriguez started collecting brushes. A lot of volunteers just go through the motions, but you actually care. They're easy to care about. Not for everyone. Ms. Rodriguez paused. Emma told me you're a very important businesswoman. Emma talks a lot, apparently. She does. But she also said you're sad sometimes. She can tell. Sophia felt something catch in her throat. Kids are perceptive. More than we give them credit for. Miss Rodriguez handed her a stack of paintings to hang up. Whatever brought you here, I'm glad it did. These kids need adults who see them as people, not just students or problems to solve. That night, Sophia stayed late at the school, helping set up for the fall festival. She strung lights, arranged tables, and listened to Emma chatter about every thought that passed through her 7-year-old brain. Noah showed up at 5:30 with coffee for both of them. You didn't have to do this, he said, gesturing at the decorated gym. I wanted to. He handed her a cup. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. They worked together in easy silence, moving chairs and tables. Other parents filtered in and out. A few recognized Sophia. One had read about her in the business section. She deflected questions politely and went back to work. You're good at that, Noah observed. At what? Being normal, turning off the CEO thing. I'm not sure I'm good at it, but I'm trying. Emma ran up with a construction paper turkey she'd made. Look! That's amazing, Noah said. It's for our table for Thanksgiving. Sophia felt something twist. Thanksgiving. A family holiday. She hadn't celebrated it properly in years, usually just worked through it or had a catered meal alone. We do Thanksgiving at my brother's house, Noah said, reading her expression. Big family thing. Loud, chaotic, too much food. Sounds nice. It's exhausting, but good exhausting. He paused. You should come. Emma gasped. Yes, Ms. Langford should come. I couldn't intrude on your family. You're not intruding if we're inviting you, Noah said. Besides, my brother's wife already makes enough food to feed a small army. One more person won't matter. Please, 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 Emma begged. Sophia looked at them both. Noah's genuine invitation, Emma's hopeful face, and felt her carefully constructed walls cracking. Okay, she heard herself say. I'd love to. Emma cheered and ran off to tell her friend Mia the news. You don't have to, Noah said quietly. I know Emma can be overwhelming. I want to. I haven't done a family holiday in a long time. Then it's about time you did. 3 weeks passed in a blur of work and volunteering and slowly rebuilding her life into something that resembled balance. Sophia still put in long hours, still closed deals and managed crises. But she also left at 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, started saying no to evening meetings, stopped checking email at midnight. Her board noticed. Some approved. Others whispered about her losing focus. She stopped caring what they whispered. Emma's birthday party arrived on a Saturday in November. Sophia showed up at Bounce Galaxy, an indoor playground that was exactly as loud and chaotic as Noah had warned, with a carefully chosen present and no idea what she was doing. 20 children descended on Noah the moment they arrived, all screaming his name. He handled it with the patience of a saint. Emma spotted Sophia and ran over. You came! You came! Of course I came. Did you bring a present? Emma, Noah said warningly. What? I'm just asking. Sophia handed her the wrapped box. Emma tore into it immediately, no patience for savoring the moment, and gasped. A real art set, with the good paints. I checked with your art teacher about which ones were best. Emma hugged her, fierce and sudden, and surprisingly strong for a 7-year-old. Sophia froze for a second, then hugged back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're welcome. The party was organized chaos. Kids everywhere, climbing, jumping, screaming with joy. Parents clustered in groups, drinking bad coffee and making conversation. Sophia found herself sitting with Noah's brother David and his wife Michelle. "So, you're the famous Sophia," Michelle said with a knowing smile. "I don't know about famous. Emma talks about you constantly. The glitter lady who's teaching her about art and business and being strong. I'm not teaching her anything, just helping with art class." David laughed. "My brother's been different since he met you." "Different how?" "Lighter. He smiles more, actually talks about something other than Emma occasionally." David lowered his voice. "Don't get me wrong, he's an amazing dad. But after Rachel died, he kind of disappeared into being just Emma's father. Nothing else. It's good to see him being a person again." Sophia didn't know what to say to that. Michelle elbowed her husband. "Stop making it weird." "I'm not making it weird." "You're definitely making it weird." Across the room, Noah was helping Emma and 3 other kids navigate the obstacle course. He caught Sophia watching and smiled. She smiled back. The cake came out, chocolate with pink frosting and entirely too many sprinkles. Everyone sang. Emma made a wish and blew out the candles in one breath. "What did you wish for?" someone asked. "Can't tell, or it won't come true." But Emma looked right at Sophia when she said it, and Sophia felt her heart do something complicated in her chest. After the party, while other parents collected their sugar-high children, Sophia helped Noah pack up presents and leftover cake. "Thank you for coming," he said. "It meant a lot to Emma." "It meant a lot to me, too." "Yeah?" "Yeah." Sophia taped up another box. "I can't remember the last time I went to a birthday party, a real one, I mean. Not a networking event disguised as a celebration." "How'd you survive the chaos?" "Barely, but I'd do it again." Noah stopped packing. "Sophia, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "What are we doing here?" The question hung between them. "I don't know," Sophia said honestly. "I just know I don't want to stop." "Me neither, but I need to be careful. For Emma." "I know. And I need you to be honest with me. Are you looking for a project, something to fix the loneliness? Or is this real?" Sophia set down the tape. "I'm not sure I know the difference anymore. 6 months ago, my life was clear, simple. Work, success, repeat. Then I met you, and everything got complicated. And I know that sounds like I'm using you, but I'm not. Or I'm trying not to. She stopped, frustrated. "I don't have the right words. I've spent my whole life being articulate and strategic, and now I can't explain the simplest thing." "Which is?" "That being around you and Emma makes me feel like I'm finally living instead of just existing. And maybe that is selfish. Maybe I am using you to figure out my life. But it's also real. The way I feel when Emma hugs me, or when you text me about stupid things, or when I'm covered in glitter and actually happy about it, that's real. I don't know what it means or where it's going, but it's real." Noah was quiet for a long moment. "Okay," he said finally. "Okay? Okay, it's real. We'll figure out the rest." He picked up a box. "But I need you to promise me something." "What?" "If you decide this isn't for you, if you realize you miss your old life or this gets too complicated, you tell me. Don't just disappear. Emma doesn't deserve that." "I won't disappear." "Promise me." "I promise." They finished packing in silence. Emma had fallen asleep in one of the bounce houses, exhausted from her own party. Noah carried her to the car, and she didn't even wake up. "See you at Thanksgiving?" he asked. "Definitely." Sophia drove home as the sun set, her car full of leftover birthday cake, and her heart full of something she couldn't name. When she got home, she found a text from Emma, clearly dictated to Noah since it was spelled correctly. "Thank you for coming to my party. You are my second favorite grown-up. Dad is first, but you are very close. Love, Emma." Sophia saved the message. Then she did something she hadn't done in years. She called her mother. "Sophia." Her mother sounded surprised. "Is everything okay?" "Yeah, I just wanted to talk." They talked for an hour. It was awkward at first. Years of distance didn't disappear in one phone call. But it was something, a start. When they hung up, her mother said, "We should do this more often." "I'd like that." Thanksgiving arrived with the kind of cold that made Chicago feel like punishment. Sophia stood outside Noah's brother's house in the suburbs, holding a bottle of wine she'd spent too long choosing, wondering if this was a mistake. The door opened before she could knock. "Ms. Langford!" Emma dragged her inside. "You're here!" The house was warm and loud and smelled like turkey and pie. David and Michelle greeted her like family. Noah took her coat and whispered, "You okay?" Terrified. "Good. That means you care." There were 12 people for dinner. Noah's brother and sister-in-law, their 2 kids. Noah's parents, a kind-faced couple in their 60s who hugged Sophia like they'd known her for years. Noah's sister and her husband. And Emma's grandmother from Rachel's side, a tiny woman named Susan who looked at Sophia with eyes that saw everything. "So you're the one," Susan said during appetizers. "The one?" "That Emma won't stop talking about, the glitter lady." "That's me." Susan studied her. "Thank you for being kind to her. She's been through enough." "She's easy to be kind to." "Still, not everyone sees that." Susan squeezed her hand. "But I think you do." Dinner was loud and chaotic and perfect. People talked over each other, passed dishes, told embarrassing stories. Noah's dad told jokes that made Emma groan. Michelle burned the rolls and everyone pretended not to notice. Sophia sat between Noah and Emma, watching this family that had somehow made space for her at their table. "You're quiet," Noah murmured. "Just taking it in." "Too much?" "Not enough," she said honestly. "I didn't know families could actually be like this." "Like what?" "Happy, real, not performing for each other." Noah's hand found hers under the table, just for a moment. Then it was gone, but the warmth remained. After dinner, while the adults cleaned up, Emma pulled Sophia into the living room to play a complicated game involving stuffed animals and a blanket fort. "You're the queen," Emma instructed, "and you have to save the kingdom from the dragon." "Who's the dragon?" "Daddy, obviously." Noah, walking by with dirty plates, said, "I'm a dragon now?" "A scary one." "Great. Always wanted to be typecast." They played for an hour. Noah made an excellent dragon, appropriately fierce but always careful not to actually scare anyone. Emma shrieked with delight every time Sophia defeated him. Later, after Emma had fallen asleep on the couch, Sophia found herself on the back porch with Susan. "She loves you," Susan said without preamble. "Who? Emma?" "Don't play dumb. You're clearly not." Susan wrapped her shawl tighter. "I see the way she looks at you, like you're important, and I see the way you look at her, like she matters." "She does matter." "I know, but here's what I need to know." Susan turned to face her. "Are you going to break her heart?" The question was direct and unflinching. "I'm trying not to." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I have. I care about Emma. I care about Noah. But I don't know how to do this, how to be part of their lives without screwing it up." "None of us know how to do it. We just show up and try." Susan's expression softened slightly. "My daughter, Rachel, she made Noah promise to find happiness again, not to stay frozen in grief. She wanted him to live." Sophia felt tears threatening. "I didn't know that. He doesn't talk about it much. But I was there when she said it." Susan looked back through the window at Noah, who was carrying Emma to the car. "She'd like you, I think. You're strong, honest, not afraid of hard things. I'm afraid of everything. But you show up anyway. That's what counts." Later, walking to her car, Noah caught up with her. "Surviving your first Bennett family Thanksgiving?" "More than surviving. That was—" She struggled for words. "Thank you for including me. Thank you for coming." He leaned against her car. "Susan cornered you, didn't she?" "How'd you know?" "She corners everyone. What'd she say?" "That Rachel wanted you to be happy." Noah looked up at the sky. Stars were barely visible through the city light pollution. "She did. Kept saying it even when she could barely speak. Promise me you'll find joy again." "Made me swear it." "Have you?" "I'm trying." He looked at her. "You help." "I'm a mess, Noah. I don't know what I'm doing with my life or where any of this is going." "Neither do I, but maybe that's okay." They stood in the cold, breath misting, not quite touching, but not pulling away either. "I should go," Sophia said, not moving. "Probably." "Emma's asleep in your brother's car." "She is. And it's freezing. It really is." Neither of them moved. Finally, Noah smiled. Get out of here before we both freeze to death. Okay? She got in her car, started it, put it in reverse. Noah knocked on her window. She rolled it down. Same time next year? He asked. Definitely. Driving home, Sophia realized she'd just made plans a year in advance. She, who never committed to anything beyond the next quarter. She, who was starting to realize that maybe, just maybe, she'd found something worth committing to. The winter concert was on a Tuesday. Sophia had known about it for 3 weeks. Emma had given her a hand-drawn invitation complete with glitter glue and incorrect spelling. She'd put it on her refrigerator, which was otherwise completely empty except for expensive takeout containers and a bottle of champagne she kept forgetting to drink. The concert conflicted with 6 different meetings. A product launch debrief, 2 investor calls, a strategy session with her executive team, a lunch with a potential acquisition target, and the quarterly board presentation she'd been preparing for weeks. She rescheduled all of it. Her CFO actually called her directly. Sophia, the board presentation can't be moved. We've had this scheduled for 2 months. Move it to Thursday. Half the board can't make Thursday. What's so urgent that you need to miss this? Sophia looked at the invitation on her fridge. Something important. More important than a quarterly review? Yes. She hung up before he could argue. Jennifer appeared in her doorway 10 minutes later. The board is threatening mutiny. Let them mutiny. I'll be back Thursday. What's happening on Tuesday that's worth risking a board revolt? Sophia met her assistant's eyes. A second-grade winter concert. Jennifer blinked. You're serious? Completely. For Emma? Yes. Jennifer was quiet for a moment, then smiled. Good. About time you had priorities that didn't involve quarterly earnings. You're supposed to talk me out of this. I'm supposed to support you, and right now supporting you means letting you go to a children's concert. Jennifer pulled out her tablet. I'll handle the board. You handle whatever's happening in your actual life. Sophia felt something warm spread through her chest. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just bring me back one of those programs they make. I collect them from my niece's school stuff. The night of the concert, Sophia left work at 4:30. The office was still buzzing with people working late, closing deals, chasing deadlines. 6 months ago, she would have been one of them, would have stayed until midnight and felt virtuous about it. Now she just felt relieved to be leaving. She stopped at home to change. The suit felt wrong for an elementary school gym. She put on jeans and a sweater, checked her reflection, and barely recognized herself. When had she started looking less severe? Less like she was about to fire someone? The school parking lot was already packed when she arrived. Parents streaming in, most of them looking tired from their own workdays. Sophia found a spot in the back and walked toward the building, her breath misting in the December cold. Inside, the gym had been transformed. Paper snowflakes hung from the ceiling, clearly made by the students, all different sizes and levels of symmetry. String lights created a soft glow. Rows of folding chairs faced a makeshift stage decorated with construction paper trees and cotton ball snow. It was beautiful in a completely imperfect way. Sophia scanned the crowd and found Noah standing near the 3rd row, saving seats. He waved her over. You made it, he said, and the relief in his voice suggested he hadn't been entirely sure she would. I said I'd be here. I know, but you also run a billion-dollar company. I wouldn't have blamed you if something came up. Nothing's more important than this. Noah studied her face. You mean that? I do. He gestured to the saved seat. Then sit. Emma's been watching the door for 20 minutes, waiting for you to arrive. Sophia sat down and immediately felt out of place. Around her, parents chatted easily about carpools and playdates and whose turn it was to bring snacks. Normal parent things. Things she had no context for. A woman to her left leaned over. First concert? That obvious? You look terrified. Don't worry, they're actually pretty cute. Only runs about 45 minutes. Thanks. Which one's yours? The question caught Sophia off guard. Oh, I'm not. She's not mine. I'm just here for Emma Bennett. Emma, she's adorable. You're Noah's. Friend seemed too simple. Something more felt too presumptuous. I volunteer at the school. That's nice of you. The woman smiled and turned back to her husband. Noah's hand found hers between their seats. Just for a second. A squeeze that said, I know this is weird and you're doing great. She squeezed back. The lights dimmed. A teacher walked onto the stage with a microphone that squealed feedback. Parents winced. Welcome to Roosevelt Elementary's winter concert. The teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, beamed at the crowd. Our second graders have been working so hard on tonight's performance. Please hold your applause until the end and absolutely no flash photography. Every parent immediately pulled out their phones. The curtain opened, really just a sheet someone was pulling aside, and there were the kids. 23 second graders in mismatched holiday sweaters, standing on risers that were slightly too tall for some of them. Emma stood in the second row, eyes scanning the crowd frantically. Sophia raised her hand slightly. Emma's whole face lit up. She waved so enthusiastically she nearly fell off the riser. The boy next to her caught her. She's excited you're here, Noah murmured. I'm excited to be here. And she meant it. Sitting in a cramped elementary school gym on a folding chair that was already making her back hurt, surrounded by strangers, waiting for a concert that would probably be off-key and chaotic. She couldn't remember the last time she'd been this happy. The music teacher raised her hands. The kids stood up straighter. Well, most of them. One boy in the back was picking his nose. They started singing. It was Jingle Bells, and it was exactly as off-key and chaotic as Sophia had expected. Half the kids were ahead of the music. A quarter were behind. One girl in the front row was just mouthing the words without actually singing. It was perfect. Sophia felt tears prickling her eyes and blinked them back hard. She didn't cry. Hadn't cried in years. Not when her company almost went bankrupt in year 2. Not when her last relationship ended. Not even at her grandmother's funeral. But watching Emma sing her heart out, occasionally forgetting the words and just humming loudly instead, Sophia felt something crack open in her chest. Noah glanced at her, saw her face, and didn't say anything. Just sat closer so their shoulders touched. The concert continued. Frosty the Snowman. Rudolph. An original song about winter that made absolutely no sense, but involved a lot of enthusiastic hand movements. Emma performed every single one with complete commitment, even when she was clearly doing them wrong. During Silent Night, sung surprisingly well by the whole group, Sophia finally let the tears fall. Just a few. Silent. She wiped them away quickly, but Noah saw. You okay? He whispered. Yeah, this is really nice. It is. I've never been to something like this before. Never? My parents didn't really do the whole supportive attendance thing, and I've spent my adult life avoiding anything that might make me feel something. She watched Emma, who was singing with her eyes closed now, completely lost in the music. I've missed a lot, haven't I? Maybe, but you're here now. The concert ended with all the kids singing, "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," while the music teacher played piano. Parents clapped. Some whistled. One dad yelled, "That's my girl!" so loud that several kids giggled. The curtain closed. Someone yanked the sheet back across, and parents stood up to collect their children. Emma found them immediately, pushing through the crowd with the determination of someone twice her size. "Did you see me? Did you see?" "We saw everything," Noah said, picking her up even though she was really getting too big for it. "You were amazing." "I messed up the hand movements in the winter song." "Nobody noticed." "I noticed." "Then you'll do better next time." Noah set her down. "Did you see Miss Langford was here?" Emma turned to Sophia. "You came." "Of course I came." "Even though you're super busy and important?" "Even though?" Sophia crouched down. "You have a beautiful voice." "Really? Madison says I sing too loud." "Madison's wrong. You sing with confidence. That's good." Emma processed this, then threw her arms around Sophia's neck. The hug was fierce and sudden and smelled like the strawberry shampoo they apparently used at Noah's house. Sophia hugged back, her throat tight. "Thank you for coming," Emma whispered. "Thank you for inviting me." When Emma pulled back, she was grinning. "Can you come to our class party on Friday? We're making gingerbread houses." "Emma, don't pressure her," Noah started. "I'll be there," Sophia said. "Really?" "Really." They walked out to the parking lot together, Emma between them, holding both their hands and chattering about everything that had gone wrong backstage. The heater in the gym had made it too hot. Tyler had almost thrown up. Someone's costume sweater had gotten stuck on the risers. "Sounds like chaos," Noah said. It was the best chaos ever. At the cars, Emma hugged Sophia again. See you Friday? See you Friday. Noah buckled Emma into her car seat, then walked back to where Sophia was unlocking her BMW. You didn't have to say yes to the party. I wanted to. Your schedule. I'll make it work. Sophia opened her door but didn't get in. Noah, can I ask you something? Sure. Do you ever wonder if we're making a mistake? Getting this close? He was quiet for a moment. Around them, other families were leaving, engines starting, headlights cutting through the dark. Every day, he said finally. But then Emma asks about you, or I see you covered in glitter, looking happier than I've ever seen you, and I think maybe mistakes are just things we haven't figured out yet. That's very optimistic. I'm trying something new, he smiled. Look, I don't know where this is going. I don't know if you're going to wake up one day and realize you miss your old life. And I can't promise I won't panic and push you away to protect Emma. But right now, in this moment, I'm glad you're here. Me too. They stood there in the cold, not quite touching, both afraid to take the next step and equally afraid not to. I should get Emma home, Noah said. School night. Right, yeah. He started to walk away, then turned back. Sophia? Yeah? I'm glad you cried during the concert. It means you let yourself feel something. He got in his car before she could respond. Sophia drove home through light snow, her heart doing complicated things in her chest. When she got to her apartment, it felt even emptier than usual. She stood at the window looking at the city and realized that somewhere out there, Noah was probably reading Emma a bedtime story, tucking her in, turning on her nightlight, living a life that had room for other people in it. Her phone buzzed, a text from Jennifer. Board meeting rescheduled to Thursday. They're grumpy, but they'll survive. How was the concert? Sophia smiled. Perfect. Did the kid do good? She was amazing. And what? And are you going to keep pretending this is just about volunteering at a school? Or are you going to admit you're falling for this guy? Sophia stared at the message for a long time. I don't know what I'm doing. Good. About time you did something without a strategic plan. The gingerbread house party was exactly as messy as Sophia expected. 23 second graders, royal icing, and enough candy to cause a collective sugar high that would probably last until New Year's. She showed up in old jeans and a sweatshirt she'd bought specifically for volunteer days. Her hair was in a ponytail. No makeup except some concealer because she'd been up late closing a deal the night before. She looked nothing like a CEO. She looked happy. Ms. Langford! Emma crashed into her the moment she walked into the classroom. You're here! I saved you a seat at my table. Lucky me. Emma dragged her to a table where 3 other girls were already arguing about the proper way to construct a gingerbread wall. It needs more icing, one girl insisted. It needs less icing, another countered. Too much and it falls down. You're both wrong, the third girl said. It needs to dry first. Emma looked at Sophia. Can you help us figure it out? Sophia studied the materials. Graham crackers, icing, candy, basic structural engineering, really. She'd built a company from nothing. She could handle a gingerbread house. 30 minutes later, she was covered in icing and their house was leaning at a dangerous angle. Maybe more support on this side, she suggested. They tried. The whole thing collapsed. The girls stared at the wreckage. Well, Emma said philosophically, at least we can eat it now. They rebuilt, this time with less ambition and more icing. The final product was lopsided and covered in too many gumdrops, but it stood. It's beautiful, Emma declared. It's definitely something, Sophia agreed. Miss Rodriguez stopped by their table. Nice work, ladies. Ms. Langford helped. I see that. Ms. Rodriguez smiled at Sophia. You're getting good at this. At gingerbread architecture? At being present. After the party, while the other kids were being picked up, Emma asked if Sophia could stay for the school's holiday craft fair that evening. It's from 6 to 8, Emma explained. We sell stuff we made and the money goes to the library. Sophia checked her phone. She had a dinner meeting at 7 with a potential investor. Important. Could lead to a major partnership. She looked at Emma's hopeful face. I'll be here. Noah arrived during setup, arms full of Emma's craft projects to sell. He stopped when he saw Sophia arranging paper snowflakes on a table. You're still here. Apparently I'm working the crafts fair now. You don't have to. I know. But Emma asked and I said yes. Something shifted in Noah's expression. You canceled something for this, didn't you? Maybe. Sophia, it's fine. The meeting can wait. Can it? She met his eyes. It has to, because I'm learning that some things are more important than business deals. Noah set down his boxes. You keep saying things like that. Because I keep meaning them. The fair was chaotic and sweet. Kids selling handmade ornaments and painted rocks. Parents buying everything their children made, even the objectively terrible stuff. Emma sold 6 snowflakes, 2 painted pine cones, and a clay turtle that looked more like a blob. She was thrilled. Sophia worked the cash box, making change and chatting with parents. Several of them recognized her now, not as the billionaire CEO, but as Emma's friend, the glitter lady, the woman who showed up. It felt better than any magazine cover ever had. At 7:30, during a lull in customers, Noah found her counting money. We made $247. That's great. It is. He leaned against the table. Can I ask you something? Sure. What happened to your investor meeting? I rescheduled it. For when? Next week sometime. Jennifer's handling it. Noah studied her face. You're really doing this, aren't you? Rebuilding your whole life. I'm trying. I don't know if I'm doing it right. There's no right way. Just your way. And if my way involves showing up to elementary school craft fairs instead of investor meetings, then that's your way. Emma ran up with her empty box of crafts. Daddy, we sold everything. Everything! That's amazing, sweetheart. Ms. Langford helped. She told people my turtle blob was artisanal. Noah looked at Sophia. Artisanal. It worked, didn't it? They helped clean up after the fair ended. Folding tables, taking down decorations, sweeping up glitter that would probably still be in the gym come summer. Emma chatted with her friends while the adults worked. She's going to crash hard tonight, Noah said, watching his daughter. Sugar high followed by complete exhaustion. Sounds about right. Thank you for being here. It means everything to her. It means everything to me, too. They finished cleaning in comfortable silence. Other parents left with their kids. Eventually, it was just them, Ms. Rodriguez, and a janitor who looked ready for everyone to leave. Walking to the parking lot, Emma stumbled. Noah caught her. I'm fine, she mumbled. You're exhausted. I'm not. She yawned so wide her jaw cracked. Okay, maybe a little. Noah picked her up, and she didn't even protest, just laid her head on his shoulder. At the cars, Sophia expected them to say goodnight, but Noah hesitated. Do you want to come over? For coffee or tea or something? Em will probably fall asleep in the car anyway. The invitation hung in the cold air. I don't want to intrude. You're not intruding, I'm asking. Sophia looked at Emma, already half asleep against Noah's shoulder. Then at Noah, who was asking her into his home, his life, the space he'd built for his daughter. Okay, she said. I'd like that. She followed his car through the quiet streets to a neighborhood she'd never been to. Tree-lined, modest houses with small yards. The kind of place where people knew their neighbors and kids played outside. Noah's house was a small brick bungalow with a wooden porch and Christmas lights strung along the gutters. Emma had clearly helped with the decorating. The lights were haphazard and different colors, completely imperfect, completely wonderful. Inside was warm and lived in, toys in a basket, books on shelves, art projects covering the fridge, a life being actively lived, not just displayed. Noah carried Emma straight to her room. Make yourself comfortable. I'll just be a minute. Sophia stood in the living room taking it all in. Photos on the walls, Emma at different ages, Noah and Emma together. And one larger photo. Noah, Emma as a baby, and a woman with kind eyes and dark hair, Rachel. Sophia studied the photo. Rachel had been beautiful, but not in a magazine way. In a real way. Laugh lines around her eyes. The kind of smile that suggested she found joy in small things. That was her favorite picture. Sophia turned. Noah stood in the hallway, hands in his pockets. She's beautiful. She was. Noah came to stand beside her. That was Emma's first birthday. Rachel was already sick but wouldn't let it stop the party. She baked the cake herself, decorated the whole house. She was exhausted afterward, slept for 2 days, but she said it was worth it. She sounds amazing. She was. Smart, funny, impossibly stubborn. Noah smiled sadly. She would have liked you, I think. You're both fighters. I don't feel like a fighter. That's because you're fighting yourself right now instead of external enemies. Different kind of battle. Sophia looked at him. Does it ever stop being hard? Missing her? No, but it stops being the only thing I feel. Noah moved to the kitchen. Coffee or tea? Whatever you're having. He made tea. They sat at his kitchen table, scarred wood, clearly secondhand, and talked quietly. About Emma, about the concert, about nothing and everything. Can I ask you something? Sophia said after a while. Always. Are you okay with this? With me being here? Noah wrapped both hands around his mug. Honestly, it scares me. Why? Because Emma's getting attached to you, and I'm getting attached to you. And if this falls apart, we both get hurt. He met her eyes. But I'm also tired of living scared. Rachel used to say that fear is just love trying to protect itself. And maybe she was right. So what do we do? I don't know. Keep showing up, I guess. See where it goes. That's not much of a plan. No, but it's honest. They sat in silence, drinking tea, the house quiet around them. I should probably go, Sophia said eventually. It's late. Yeah. Noah didn't move. Or you could stay for a bit longer. I could do that too. So she did. They talked until midnight, sitting at his kitchen table, learning each other. Not the big things. They already knew those. The small things. How he took his coffee. How she couldn't whistle. His terrible singing voice. Her inability to cook anything that didn't come with instructions. Normal things. Human things. When Sophia finally left, standing on his porch in the December cold, Noah walked her to her car. Thank you for tonight, she said. Thank you for being here. They stood close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his gray eyes. I should go, she said, not moving. You should, he agreed, not stepping back. Neither of them moved. Finally, Sophia laughed. This is ridiculous. Completely. She got in her car. Noah knocked on her window and she rolled it down. Same time next week? He asked. Emma has a school presentation on penguins. I'll be there. Even if you have important CEO things? Especially if I have important CEO things, he smiled. Good night, Sophia. Good night, Noah. Driving home, Sophia realized her face hurt from smiling. When was the last time that had happened? Her phone rang. Jennifer. You're alive. Why does everyone keep assuming I'm dead? Because you missed a board meeting, rescheduled 3 major meetings, and have been basically unreachable for 2 days. The board is talking about a vote of no confidence. Sophia should have felt panic. 6 months ago, she would have. Now she just felt tired. Schedule an emergency board meeting for Monday morning. I'll handle it. What are you going to tell them? The truth. That I'm making changes. That I'm delegating more. That I'm building a life that doesn't end when I leave the office. They're not going to like that. I don't care. Jennifer was quiet for a moment. You've really changed. Is that bad? No, it's actually kind of amazing. Terrifying for those of us who have to manage your calendar, but amazing. Sophia laughed. I promise I'll try to give you more warning next time. Please do. My stress levels can't take much more surprise rescheduling. Monday morning, Sophia walked into the board meeting prepared for a fight. She got one. This is unacceptable, Richard Morrison said before she'd even sat down. You've missed 3 meetings in 2 weeks. You're delegating responsibilities that should stay with the CEO. Your focus seems to be elsewhere. It is elsewhere, Sophia said calmly. Part of it, anyway. The board stared at her. I'm making changes, she continued, bringing in a COO to handle day-to-day operations, restructuring my schedule to allow for better work-life balance. And yes, that means I won't be available 24/7 anymore. That's not how you built this company, Richard started. No, it's how I almost destroyed myself building this company. I haven't taken a real vacation in 4 years. I work 80-hour weeks. I have no life outside this office. And I'm done. So you're abandoning the company? I'm saving myself. There's a difference. The room erupted in arguments. Some board members supported her. Others called it career suicide. One suggested she was having some kind of breakdown. Sophia let them argue. Then she stood up. I started this company when I was 23 years old. I've given it everything. my time, my energy, my entire 20s. And I'm proud of what we've built. But I'm 30 now, and I don't want to spend the rest of my life married to a balance sheet. So what do you want? Someone asked. Sophia thought about Emma's concert, about gingerbread houses and craft fairs, about sitting at Noah's kitchen table at midnight talking about nothing important. I want a life, she said simply, and I'm going to build one, with or without your approval. The vote was split. Some board members threatened to resign, others pledged support. Sophia didn't care. She walked out of that meeting and called Jennifer. Find me the best COO candidates you can. I want someone in place by January. You're serious about this? Completely. The board is going to fight you. Let them. That afternoon, Sophia left work at 3 and went to Emma's penguin presentation. She sat in a tiny chair in the back of the classroom and watched Emma explain penguin mating habits with the seriousness of a nature documentary narrator. Noah caught her eye from across the room and smiled, and Sophia knew with absolute certainty that she'd made the right choice. The rumors started 3 days after the board meeting. Sophia heard them through Jennifer first, who'd heard them from someone in accounting, who'd heard them from someone in marketing. The corporate gossip chain worked faster than any official communication. The CEO is having a breakdown. She's dating some random guy. She's abandoning the company. She's lost her edge. Sophia was in the middle of reviewing COO candidates when Jennifer brought it up. People are talking, Jennifer said carefully. People are always talking. This is different. They're saying you're involved with someone, that it's affecting your judgment. Sophia set down the resume she'd been reading. And what do you think? I think you seem happier than I've ever seen you, and I think happiness doesn't affect judgment. It clarifies it. Tell that to the board. The board can handle themselves. I'm more worried about you. Jennifer sat down. Are you dating him? The single dad? Sophia opened her mouth to say no, realized she didn't know how to answer. It's complicated. It always is. We haven't defined it. We're just spending time together. He has a daughter. I'm figuring out my life. It's messy. Good messy or bad messy? Sophia thought about sitting at Noah's kitchen table at midnight, about Emma's hugs, about feeling like she belonged somewhere for the first time in years. Good messy, she said. Terrifying, but good. Jennifer smiled. Then ignore the rumors. Live your life. But ignoring the rumors got harder when they escalated. Someone leaked to the press. Not the whole story, just enough to be damaging. Langford Technologies' CEO spotted at elementary school events. Sources question. Leadership focus. The article was small, buried in the business section. But it was enough. Her phone exploded with calls from board members, investors, colleagues, all asking the same question. What was she thinking? Sophia handled the calls professionally, assured everyone she was focused, reminded them the company was performing better than ever. Didn't mention that her heart was somewhere else entirely. That night, Noah called. I saw the article. Of course you did. Sophia, if this is going to cause problems for you, it's not. It clearly is. The press is questioning your judgment. The press questions everything. That's their job. Sophia paced her apartment. I'm not going to let some gossip columnist dictate my life. But your company, my company will be fine. I'm hiring a COO, delegating more, building a leadership team that can function without me hovering over everything. She stopped pacing. I'm not giving this up, Noah. Not you, not Emma, not the life I'm trying to build. He was quiet for a long moment. You're sure? I've never been more sure of anything. Okay, then I'm with you, whatever happens. Even if the press starts digging into your life too. I'm a senior analyst with a 7-year-old daughter, not exactly scandalous material. They'll find something, they always do. Let them. I'm not hiding. After they hung up, Sophia stood at her window looking at the city. Somewhere out there, people were writing articles about her, judging her choices, questioning her priorities. She didn't care anymore. The next morning, she scheduled a press conference. Jennifer nearly had a heart attack. You're doing what? Addressing this head on, I'm not going to let speculation control the narrative. The board will lose their minds. The board doesn't own my life. Sophia, set it up for tomorrow. I'll handle the rest. The press conference was packed. Reporters from business publications, tech blogs, even a few mainstream news outlets. Everyone wanted to know if the Ice Queen CEO was finally cracking. Sophia stood at the podium in her best suit, looking every inch the powerful executive they expected. "Thank you all for coming," she began. "I'm here to address recent speculation about my personal life and how it affects my role at Langford Technologies." Cameras flashed. Reporters leaned forward. "The truth is simple. I'm making changes. I'm hiring a COO to manage daily operations. I'm building a leadership team that doesn't require me to work 80-hour weeks. And yes, I'm spending time outside the office pursuing personal interests." Someone shouted a question. "Is it true you're dating someone with no business connections?" "My personal relationships are my own business. But I will say this. I spent my entire 20s building a company at the expense of everything else. I missed birthdays, holidays, moments that mattered, and I'm done living that way." "Does this mean you're stepping down?" another reporter called. "Absolutely not. It means I'm stepping up. As a CEO who believes in work-life balance, who models healthy boundaries, who understands that sustainable success requires actually having a life worth living." The room erupted in questions. Sophia answered them all calmly, refusing to be defensive or apologetic. When it was over, Jennifer met her backstage. That was either brilliant or career suicide. We'll find out which. The response was immediate and divided. Half the business world applauded her honesty. Articles praised her for challenging toxic work culture. Young professionals called her inspiring. The other half called her weak, said she'd lost her competitive edge, predicted Langford Technologies would suffer. Her stock price dropped 3%. Sophia watched it happen and felt nothing. No panic, no regret, just a strange sense of peace. That afternoon, she went to Emma's school for art class like she did every Tuesday. Emma was waiting at her table with a painting she'd been working on for 2 weeks. "Look, I finished it." The painting was of 3 people holding hands, a tall woman, a man, and a small girl between them. "That's you, me, and Daddy," Emma explained. "We're a family." Sophia's throat went tight. "Emma, not like a real family," Emma added quickly, "because my mom is my real mom, even though she's in heaven, but like a friend family." "Is that okay?" Sophia knelt down to Emma's level. "That's more than okay. That's perfect." Emma beamed and hugged her, getting paint on Sophia's expensive blouse. Sophia didn't care. That night, Noah invited her to dinner at his house. Nothing fancy, just spaghetti and salad, and Emma talking nonstop about her day. After Emma went to bed, Noah and Sophia sat on his back porch with coffee, watching the first snow of December fall. "I saw your press conference," Noah said. And you were amazing, honest, brave, or stupid, the jury's still out." "Not stupid, never stupid." He set down his coffee. "Can I ask you something?" "Always." "What are we doing here? Really?" Sophia had been expecting this question for weeks, had rehearsed answers in her head, prepared rational explanations. But sitting here with Noah, snow falling around them, she couldn't remember any of them. "I don't know," she said honestly. "I just know that I'm happier here on your back porch drinking bad coffee than I've been in any boardroom or at any gala. And that scares me, but it also feels right." "It scares me too." "Why?" "Because Emma already loves you, and I'm—" He stopped, started again. "I'm falling for you. Have been for months. And I don't know what to do about it." Sophia's heart hammered in her chest. "Noah, you don't have to say anything. I just needed to be honest." "No, let me—" She took a breath. "I'm falling for you too. For both of you. And I have no idea how to do this. I've never been in a relationship with someone who has a child. I've never prioritized anything over work. I'm going to mess this up." "Probably." "That's not reassuring. I'm going to mess it up too. We both are. That's how relationships work. You mess up, you apologize, you try again." "I'm not good at apologizing." "Then you'll learn." He reached for her hand. "Look, I'm not asking for perfect. I'm just asking for honest. Can you do that?" "I can try." "Then that's enough." They sat in silence, hands intertwined, watching the snow. "I need to tell you something," Sophia said after a while. "Okay. The board is pushing back hard. Some members want me out. My stock price is dropping. There's talk of a hostile takeover if I don't get back to business as usual. And I'm not going back. I'm hiring that COO. I'm restructuring my schedule. I'm building the life I want, even if it costs me everything. Noah squeezed her hand. What if it doesn't cost you everything? What if it gives you more than you ever had? That's optimistic. I'm trying something new, remember? Sophia laughed despite herself. You're good for me, you know that? You're good for me too, and for Emma. You make us better. I don't know about that. I do. The snow fell harder. They moved inside, still holding hands. In the living room, Noah pulled her close, not kissing, just holding. Sophia rested her head on his chest and listened to his heartbeat. Is this okay? He asked. More than okay. They stood like that for a long time, just breathing together. When Sophia finally went home that night, she felt different, lighter, like something that had been wound tight for years had finally loosened. The next few weeks were a careful balance. Work during the day, interviews with COO candidates, strategy meetings, damage control with nervous investors, school in the afternoons, art projects, playground duty, watching Emma learn and grow, and nights, increasingly, with Noah. Dinner at his house, movies where Emma fell asleep between them, conversations that lasted until midnight. They didn't define it, didn't put labels on what was happening, just let it unfold naturally. Emma noticed, of course. Kids always did. Are you and Daddy dating? She asked one afternoon during art class. Sophia nearly dropped her paintbrush. That's a question for your dad, sweetie. I already asked him. He said it's complicated. It is complicated. Emma considered this. Do you love him? The question was so direct, so innocent, that Sophia didn't know how to deflect it. I care about him very much, she said carefully. But do you love him? I think I might. Is that okay with you? Emma nodded seriously. It's okay. But you have to promise not to make him sad. He's been sad a lot since Mom died. I don't want him to be sad anymore. Sophia felt tears threatening. I promise to try my best not to make him sad. Okay. Emma went back to painting like they'd just discussed the weather. That night, Sophia told Noah about the conversation. She asked if I loved you. Noah went very still. What did you say? That I might, that I'm trying not to make you sad. And what do you actually feel? Sophia looked at him, this man who'd somehow become the center of her world without her noticing, who'd shown her a different way to live, who'd let her into his life despite all the reasons he had to protect himself. I love you, she said simply. I don't know when it happened or how, but I do. Noah's eyes were bright. I love you too, have for a while now. Since when? Since you showed up at Emma's school covered in glitter, looking completely out of your element but refusing to leave. That was months ago. I know. Why didn't you say anything? Because I was terrified. Because Emma's been through enough loss. Because you're this brilliant, powerful woman and I'm just a guy with a 7-year-old and a normal job. You're not just anything. You're everything I didn't know I needed. He kissed her then, soft and careful and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Emma was standing in the hallway in her pajamas. I knew it, she said triumphantly. Emma, you're supposed to be asleep, Noah said. I heard talking. Are you guys kissing? Maybe, Emma grinned. Good. Miss Rodriguez said you would eventually. I won $11. You bet on us? Sophia asked. Everyone at school did. Miss Rodriguez said it was a mathematical certainty. Noah sighed. Great. Our relationship is a betting pool. Can Miss Langford stay for breakfast? Emma asked. Noah looked at Sophia. Can she? I have a meeting at 9. Then we'll have an early breakfast. Sophia stayed. They made pancakes together. Emma insisted on adding chocolate chips to hers. They ate at Noah's kitchen table while Emma chattered about school, and Noah's foot found Sophia's under the table. It was ordinary and perfect. At 8:30, Sophia reluctantly left for her meeting. Emma hugged her goodbye. Noah walked her to her car. This is really happening, isn't it? He said. Looks like it. Are you scared? Terrified. You? Same, but also happy. Me too. The COO search concluded 2 weeks later. Sophia hired Marcus Chen, no relation to the data thief, a brilliant operations expert who'd successfully scaled 3 different tech companies. The board grudgingly approved. Marcus started immediately, taking over daily operations with the kind of efficiency that made Sophia realize how much she'd been drowning. For the first time in years, she left work at 5 most days, used the time to volunteer at school, to have dinner with Noah and Emma, to build relationships with other parents, to remember what it felt like to have a life. The stock price stabilized, then climbed. Turned out delegating to competent people actually improved company performance. The board stopped grumbling. The press moved on to other stories, and Sophia kept showing up to art classes and school events, to Noah's house for dinner, to Emma's bedtime routine, which had somehow expanded to include Sophia reading every other night. It wasn't always easy. There were moments when Sophia panicked, when old habits kicked in and she almost canceled plans for work, when she forgot Emma had a field trip and double booked herself, when she snapped at Noah because stress from work bled into her personal life. But she apologized, tried again, learned, and slowly she built something new. Christmas came with snow and chaos. Emma insisted Sophia come to their house for Christmas morning. Sophia brought too many presents, a habit from having money and no one to spend it on. Emma didn't care. She tore through them with abandon, then insisted they all build a blanket fort in the living room. They spent Christmas afternoon in the fort, drinking hot chocolate and watching movies. Emma fell asleep between them halfway through the second movie. "This is nice," Noah whispered. "It really is. Think you could get used to it?" "I think I already have." That night, after Emma was asleep in her bed, Noah and Sophia sat by his Christmas tree. "I got you something," he said, pulling out a small wrapped box. "Noah, you didn't have to. Just open it." Inside was a keychain, simple metal, with 3 words engraved on it. "You showed up." Sophia felt tears spilling over. "Noah, you did. You kept showing up, even when it was hard, even when it didn't make sense. You showed up for Emma, for me, for yourself. That's all I've ever wanted. Someone who shows up." She kissed him, tasting salt from her own tears. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too." New Year's came with promises and possibilities. Sophia spent it at Noah's house again, a quiet celebration with Emma counting down to midnight, even though she'd definitely be asleep by 10. At 8:30, as predicted, Emma was out cold. Noah and Sophia moved to the back porch, wrapped in blankets against the cold. "What's your resolution?" Noah asked. "To keep showing up? To build a life that matters? To not let fear make my decisions?" Sophia looked at him. "To be brave enough to stay." "That's a good one." "What's yours?" "To let you in. All the way. To stop protecting myself from getting hurt and just trust this." "Can we do that? Trust this?" "I think we're already doing it." At midnight, they kissed while fireworks went off somewhere in the distance. And Sophia Langford, billionaire CEO, Forbes list regular, woman who'd built an empire from nothing, finally understood what success actually meant. It wasn't the money or the magazine covers or the corner office. It was this: standing on a back porch in the cold with a man who loved her, knowing a little girl was asleep inside who'd drawn them as a family, having built a life that felt real instead of impressive. The weeks turned to months. Winter melted into spring. Sophia kept volunteering at school, kept having dinner with Noah and Emma, kept leaving work at reasonable hours. The company thrived under Marcus's operational leadership. Profits were up. Employee satisfaction improved. Turns out having a CEO who modeled work-life balance made everyone else feel like they could too. The board stopped talking about removing her, started talking about how she'd revolutionize their company culture instead. In March, Emma's class did a project on families. Each kid had to draw their family and explain it. Emma drew 3 people, labeled them carefully: Daddy, me, Sophia. When the teacher asked about her mom, Emma said, "My mom is in heaven, but Sophia is here now, and that's okay because Mom would like her." The teacher called Noah, concerned. Noah just smiled. Emma's right. Rachel would have liked her. In April, Sophia sold her penthouse, bought a house in Noah's neighborhood, 3 bedrooms, a yard, space for a life that included other people. Emma helped her pick out furniture, insisted on a reading nook in the spare bedroom for sleepovers. "You're really doing this," Noah said, standing in her new empty house. "I really am. Moving to the suburbs, leaving behind the billionaire lifestyle." "I'm not leaving it behind, I'm just adding to it." Sophia gestured around. "This doesn't mean I'm giving up my company or my career. It just means I'm building something else alongside it." "And you're sure?" She took his hand. I spent 30 years building a life that looked successful from the outside and felt empty on the inside. I'm done with that. I want messy and real and imperfect. I want you and Emma and art projects and school plays. I want a life worth living. Noah kissed her. Then let's build one. They did. It wasn't perfect. There were fights about boundaries, how much time Sophia should spend with Emma, what role she actually played in their lives. There were moments when Noah's grief resurfaced and he pulled away, moments when Sophia's work stress made her short-tempered and distant. But they worked through it, talked honestly, apologized when they messed up. And slowly, they built something that felt like family. In June, Emma's school year ended with a final concert. Sophia sat between Noah and his parents, watching Emma sing off-key with complete confidence. And she realized something. She was happy. Not the temporary happiness that came from closing a deal or making a list. Real happiness. The kind that came from belonging somewhere. To someone. To a life that mattered. After the concert, Emma ran to them, beaming. "Did you see me?" "Every second," Sophia said. "I messed up the words in the second song." "Nobody noticed." "I noticed." "Then you'll do better next time." Emma hugged her tight. "I love you, Sophia." The words were casual, thrown out like they were obvious, like they'd always been true. Sophia felt her heart expand. "I love you too, sweetheart." Emma pulled back. "Does this mean you're going to marry my dad?" "Emma!" Noah's face went red. "What?" "Miss Rodriguez said, what did we say about Miss Rodriguez's betting pools?" Emma grinned and ran off to find her friends. Sophia looked at Noah. "Sorry about that." "Don't be. She's not wrong to wonder." He took her hand. "I know it's only been 8 months, and I know we're still figuring things out. But Sophia, I can't imagine my life without you in it anymore." "Me neither." "So maybe someday, not now, but someday, we could talk about what that looks like, long term." Sophia's heart raced. "I'd like that." "Yeah?" "Yeah." They walked to the car together, Emma between them, each holding one of her hands, and Sophia thought about the woman she'd been 8 months ago, standing at a gala, feeling empty despite all her success, watching Noah walk away and wondering what it would feel like to matter to someone. Now she knew. It felt like coming home. That night, tucking Emma into bed, something Sophia did regularly now, Emma asked a question. "Are you happy here? With us?" "I am. Very happy. Even though you're super rich and could do anything you want, I am doing what I want. This is what I want." Emma thought about this. Miss Rodriguez says money can't buy happiness. Ms. Rodriguez is right. But you have money and happiness. Because I stopped trying to use money to fill the empty places, started filling them with people instead. Emma nodded like this made perfect sense. "That's smart. Your dad taught me that. My dad's pretty smart." "He really is." Sophia turned off the light and started to leave. "Sophia?" "Yeah?" "I'm glad you came to our school that day. I'm glad you stayed." Sophia's throat went tight. "Me too, Emma. Me too." Downstairs, Noah was cleaning up from dinner. Sophia joined him. They worked in comfortable silence. "She asked if I was happy," Sophia said. "And?" "I told her the truth, that I am." Noah set down the dish he was washing. "I'm happy too. Happier than I've been in years. You did that. We did that. Together." He kissed her, soapy hands and all. Later, sitting on the couch with Noah's arm around her, Sophia thought about everything that had changed. How she'd gone from a woman who had everything and nothing to a woman who had exactly what mattered. Her phone buzzed. A text from Jennifer. "Stock hit an all-time high today. Board wants to schedule a celebration. You free next week?" Sophia smiled and typed back, "Only if it's after 5 p.m. I have art class on Tuesday." Jennifer's response was immediate. "You've changed so much." "I know. For the better, I think. Definitely for the better." Sophia put her phone away and curled closer to Noah. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Everything's perfect." And for the first time in her life, she meant it. Because success, she'd learned, wasn't about the size of your empire or the numbers in your bank account. It wasn't about magazine covers or board meetings or working yourself into exhaustion. Success was this: sitting with someone you loved, Knowing a child upstairs felt safe and happy, having built a life that felt real instead of impressive. Success was showing up, every day. For the people who mattered, success was finally understanding that you could have power and money and achievement and still need love and connection and someone to come home to. And success ultimately was being brave enough to choose both, to refuse the false choice between career and personal life, between ambition and love, between being powerful and being human. Sophia Langford had spent her whole life being told she couldn't have it all. Turned out she could. She just had to redefine what all meant. And sitting here with Noah's heartbeat steady under her ear and Emma's soft breathing audible from upstairs and her company thriving under her new leadership style. Sitting here, Sophia finally understood. She'd spent years building an empire. Now she was building a life. And the life was so much better.